And that's really our business model. The nice thing working that way, through factory housing, we've got one of the top 3 national distributors and we're exclusive with them. What we learned very quickly in that industry is if we sell through, if we just put out this commodity, they're not going to take the time to learn the product. They're not going to think about it. And if they do, so I've got a guy, he learns it, he just sells it out, he goes out there and he goes bitches collecting and says, here it is, it's all good stuff. First thing that purchase manager does when he walks, when that salesman walks out the room, is he calls everybody else and bids it. And if I'm selling through a lot of other people, there are people out there that are not doing anything to help me sell my product. So they're not wasting any of their time doing it, and they'll sell them a cheap. So the guy that did take the time to fix the product and work with it didn't get the sale. How hard is he going to sell it to the next guy? Ain't going to happen. So we've got an exclusive relationship with the Odyssey Group in Elkhart, Indiana, lies in Bristol, Indiana. And they've got national distribution all over there, involved with all the claimants, the arbiters, the champions, all those guys. They, business model says that the fax goes off in a few ways. We build it, we ship it, I get my money in 2 days. Whether I've got an order to Indiana, Florida, Oregon, Texas, doesn't matter. I check that week, we'll have all those on that one check with one dead receipt. It's kind of a good way to go. Manufacturing, our problem is with this bundling concept really comes in nice. We didn't want to be too deep into anybody's pocket early on. Matter of fact, early on when we first started up, got to the point that I had almost enough investment to get going. I said, you know, I've got these people that are willing to invest money in, they believe in the same thing I believe in. Got their faith and got some of their money, but I'm still short. So take off. Cashed out my 401k, stepped off that cliff and go. Because there's a certain amount of relief when you slam it back door. You only have so much juice when you're working stuff. And if you're busy trying to say, well, what am I do with, what am I do with? You're not focusing on, ain't no back door, I got to make it work. And you find a way to make it work. There's always, generally always a way to make it work. Failure can take care of itself. You don't have to plan that. You know, there's no need. People talk about, why don't you use your long-range plan? Well, long-range plan is to be out there still standing when it's all over. But if you don't make it through tomorrow, it doesn't matter the long-range plan. And a lot of times with a small business that you're growing, you've got to look at the reality of what is going to shut me down first. And you know, vendor financing is a real thing. And if you work with your vendors, they'll help you. They're not out there. They want your business, and if they see your vision and they know you're going to grow, they're going to work with you. It's not in their interest to shut you down. But at the same time, you do got to keep in communication. You've got to make sure you work with them. But you've got to keep the eye on, you know, no matter how good you make that picture, you've got to make it through tomorrow so you find out which thing will work. And yes, you do rob, you do pay Paul, you do find ways to get it. Paul starts screaming after a while, you have to find a way to take care of it. Unfortunately, the issues that Dr. set aside to capture us when we started taking off. We started taking off in the worst, really, the economy was that bad. None of us believe the media, but we all react to it. And people that could buy houses don't, people could buy cars don't, people that could invest money pull back. And guess what? We created that economy. Yes, oil prices are up, yes, things are up, but we're still pretty fortunate in this country. We still have a lot of things going on. And with some innovation and ideas, such as the moment, we've got, I work with venture capitalists, we get out there and, you know, they see, yeah, it's a great idea, it's a wonderful idea, you're giving them something that can market, but you're only looking for $500,000, you're only looking for $100,000. They take their piece, that's a product they're going to sell, and they take their commission. Well, let's see, I got to do this much work for a $200,000 figure, and do this much work for a $20 million figure. Which is the biggest piece? Because it's basically the same amount of work for them. They're marketing, they're getting to get their capital, and they're going to take a chunk of it. So they're not really interested in helping you for $100 million. Now, over the last 10 years, I've raised around $750,000 with some very good investors and some, but typically angel investors, you're looking at, they see several risky items or small companies, and they'll throw a little bit at each one of those. And we're fortunate to get those, and we really appreciate that. But they didn't buy into my company to have me come back and say, your money's at risk now, give me more. You know, that's not a good thing. You know, there are several that have come back to the table and it helped some, but you need to look at, you know, when your next issue out, you need to still look for other ways that you can capitalize your venture. And capitalize the venture's where it's at until the venture gets to the point that you're over that hump with old debt, fixed cost, variable cost. The old look big, stay small, control overhead.